Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host, your friend, your coach. Today, I have another dear and special new friend of mine, Susanna Beatrice from the tropical country of Sweden. And
Yeah.
she's been around the world. We had an amazing conversation. What was it, 2 weeks ago? It was like two long lost friends from childhood catching up, and we're goofing around like two children. It was so awesome. We lost track of time, and at the end, I told her, I asked her, "Hey, would you have to come in and share your story on the podcast?" And she said, "Yeah, let's do it." And here she is. And wow, what can I say about her? And I'm not going to say anything. I will let you guys find out by yourself, because I can spend an entire 20 minutes just on the introduction. But
Wow.
we're going to leave that to another time. So without any further ado, my dear friend, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo. Thank you.
Pleasure's on mine. So tell us, we're going to talk about your business, your impact, all the good stuff later on. But for someone who doesn't know you, tell us, who is Susanna as a person, as a human being, as a woman?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it gets personal.
Yes.
Who am I? Well, I am a very curious woman, lifelong seeker. I like to ask the big questions. I like to grow as a human being. So really my business and who I am, there's no separation really. Like my passion is really to explore myself and the human psychology and motivations and behaviors and who are we and who are we not. And that's what I thrive in. You know, it's a sport for me to grow. And I was thinking about it this morning. I'm also quite quirky. So I have I have a lot of humor and I like to laugh a lot. And
You do? I would have never thought
yeah,
so.
no. And sometimes I'm thinking I would get rich if I just changed my line of business and had somebody record me on an everyday basis, because I'm like who I am with people, I am alone as well.
Are you saying you want to become the Swedish version of the Kardashians? Please, no.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. A little bit different, but yeah.
Hopefully, big time different.
Yeah, exactly. So my and I'm really here to live a good life. Yeah, and I want to inspire others to live a good life. That's really my aim. Not take myself too serious. Of course, I have pains and aches, and I cry, and I get angry, and I lose it, and I want to disappear in a dark hole sometimes. But I always get up, and I have this big trust in life. Yeah, and I think this is what the world lacks in many ways. We take ourselves too serious.
Absolutely. I'm completely with you on that. As you will see throughout this call, we have quite a few things in common.
Yeah,
Speed
me
Libra,
too.
we're both Libra, the best sign in the zodiac, the smartest, the most good looking, the better, and all that. You know what I mean? Absolutely. The sexiest and all that. Anyways, so tell us, to start off, I'd like to start with a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know you as a person. Ready?
Yeah, go.
All right.
I love questions.
Oh, all right. Let's see if you can answer them.
Okay.
What makes you smile?
What makes me smile? Wow. What makes me smile? Many different things, actually. It can be to observe the beauty of nature, a flower, and the genius of creation itself, just how magical it is. Just look at cats, for example. They're just perfect. Their spots, their lines, it's just perfection. So when I remember to observe nature and the magic that we live in, the little things, it makes me smile.
Beautiful. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Well, I thought I could prolong I could try to share more things what makes me smile. Many things makes me smile. Okay, what makes me happy? What makes me happy is, of course, have good laughs with my good friends, to gallop on a horse without the helmet so I can feel the wind in my hair really fast. So speed and a little adventure. I mean, speed like going fast. I was thinking motorbike or horse riding.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Freedom makes me happy. That's the core of it, actually, when I tap into it. Freedom, yeah.
Now you're speaking my language. I'm all about freedom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let's take the happiness factors a couple of notches higher. What makes your heart sing? What sets your soul on fire?
Yeah. What?
Other than speed and speedy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, what puts my soul on fire is really to work with people. So when I am in a room with a high ceiling and a big group of people in front of me, and I can just feel the energy, the oneness with the group in there, and that makes me super happy. Like it turns me on. And I think it's because it's in the moment, you know, it's like a moment of forgetting myself or just being in connection with soul. So that really, that's what I live for. That's really what I live for. It's the best thing that I know. Nothing matters the most for me.
I hear you because I'm the same. When I'm in front of my crowd, I get to
Yeah.
the zone. I become almost possessed, but in a good way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
in the zone.
Yeah.
And at times it's not you speaking, but almost as information is being channeled to you. It's how you sound.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
I can't tell you how many times, Susanna, after watching again my podcast before releasing them, I catch
Mm.
myself saying, "Wait a second, did I really say that? Where is that coming
Yeah,
from?"
I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to record them because it's good to revisit. I'm like, oh, this is gems. You know, when I go back and listen to myself sometimes, I don't even know why I'm saying it or when or how.
Exactly. Now, let's take a look at the other side of the spectrum. What makes you sad and angry?
Uh, Angry is injustice,
Mm,
and not injustice of the law, like going to courtroom. That's not, but injustice on a bigger level. Like I feel or being controlled. Like I hate being controlled. For example, how I feel that I'm not free to be me in society. Like when somebody who doesn't even know me, doesn't really care, who doesn't really give a shit, try to control me. This makes me furious, really.
uh,
And huh?
100%.
Yeah, yeah. This is kind of what fueling the work what I'm doing as well to see through that.
What makes you sad?
Yeah, what makes me sad? That's what comes up. I mean, I'm sure there are many different things, of course, but being misunderstood.
Mm,
Being misunderstood when I have a lot of good intentions and great intentions and really want to do well, and getting heavy, you know, projections, or people misunderstand and don't see where I'm coming from or where my values are or my standards. That hurts. That
I
makes
can
me
see that.
sad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what scares you other than spiders?
Ooh, yeah, the spiders are a big one. What scares me? It's fascinating, you know. I have this. I'm looking into it. I get that question often because people are like, "Wow, are you scared of anything?" And also because I've learned to use my fear as a catalyst and catapult into change. You know, I used to be much more scared, but I can see that I'm still scared of being rejected sometimes, like on
Mm,
a personal level. And I was contemplating this morning. I'm like, wow, and it's fascinating. Here I am, you know, 43, and I did so much work on myself, and I still have like this little part in me that's sometimes being afraid of being rejected or being too much, you know. And
wait,
it's not true, but it's there.
did you say you're 43?
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 21 and a half. What's your secret? Seriously, what's your secret?
Yeah, I think I live a happy life. I live a happy life, and I'm healthy. I exercise a lot. I eat well. I sleep well. I take care of myself. That's it's very important. I've done that most of my life, actually,
Mhm.
apart from certain periods of sidestepping.
Sure, absolutely. Wow.
Thank
Now,
you.
you're welcome. What would you say is your a personal number one superpower?
Courage.
Mm,
I have a lot of courage, and that in an extension, not only for my own transformation and exploring life, but also that is my superpower because I can help others to transform rapidly.
absolutely. I can see
Mm.
the courage coming from you. Like, I can see a lioness sitting in front of me right now. Must be the air, you know?
Yeah, totally.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you had a really, really, really hearty laugh? The type that gives you makes your cheek, hurt, gives you
Yeah,
almost tears. You get stomach because of laughing.
yeah,
When was the last time you had such an incredible deep laugh?
laughing. It was quite recently, but I can remember the moment, but I cannot remember the actual
Mm.
catalyst for that.
No worries.
I do it often. It can be when, for example, I look at silly animal videos on Instagram. That's my go-to when cats are falling
Cats.
down, dogs are doing stupid things, and I'm that's like I can lay on my carpet and I just crack up. I also actually found I need to send it to you. I
Okay,
also
yes, please. Yes, please.
yesterday I found this video with babies crying, and then like the parents threw like a piece of cheese in their on their head or in their face, and they just stopped crying.
Wow.
And then I was laughing because some people, like just throw this piece of cheese in the face of the child, and it was a little bit of a shock, of course, but they completely snapped out of it. And I thought, this is brilliant because I love to find pattern interruption for my clients. And I have a few, and I'm like, next time I'm going to bring a big piece of cheese, like a bag of cheese, and just,
I was about to say that. Does that work with adults?
of course it does. It's the same thing. So that I cracked up. I was saying yesterday.
Well, I can see you just
But
answered that question right now because I can see you having a hearty laugh right now. So that's good.
and I think, and sometimes people around me, they get like, oh, come on, because I send all these silly videos. But I think I'm going to start to send them to you because I have a feeling you will enjoy them.
Please, but don't spam me, please, okay?
I promise.
One a year is okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Got it.
spamming. Yeah.
Joking. Hey, bring him on, bring him on. Awesome. Now, let me
Mm,
ask you a deep question. Are you ready?
mm, yeah.
What is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Wow, that's a deep question. What is the thing that I used to value that I don't value anymore? That's actually really hard to answer because if I test talk into it, like many of my baseline values has been kind of similar throughout my life, and then there is this surface mind chatter and belief system that's been more changing, yeah. And
Like, for example, for me, I used to
oh
I
yeah,
used to spend a lot of time watching TV, playing video games when I was
yeah.
younger. And now, of course, I don't have any time for that crap. Or for
Mm.
example, I used to always be chasing after money, money, money. Now I
Okay.
realize it's not about money, it's about impact,
Yeah.
for example, for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, that's something. Well, I used to want to travel all the time. For example, I was
Mm.
obsessed with traveling, and I almost found a fear in settling down. And now I enjoy settling down. I don't have the need to move as much, and that's one. And then I can see I used to have this beliefs that's rather belief system actually than values for me, or but belief system, for example, I've been so hardcore in my spiritual path since I was young, and I had this idea that it was not spiritual to make money. There was not I was not supposed to be beautiful. I wanted to shave my hair. I wanted to make myself smaller because that was
Did you shave
spiritual.
your hair?
No, I never did it. Thanks God. Oh, you see.
That's a
Was
good
from
one.
God.
Yes. Thank you, Zoom.
Yeah. No, so thanks God that I've changed that value and I just value myself and whatever this body being want to explore now. So I
Mm.
dropped that limiting belief or that box into more freedom and acceptance
Yeah,
because
beautiful. You
that's
see,
more,
one thing
yeah.
that I can really resonate with, and listening to you, I feel like you're speaking, just sharing my story in a way, because for
Mm,
me, ever since I was a kid, I always loved even being obsessed by traveling,
mm,
and always almost like having a phobia of commitment, of anything
mm.
that time is down to anywhere. That's why for me, freedom is the most important thing in my life. So you said you love traveling, and then now you don't have this desire anymore. What made you reach that level? Because that's where I'm trying to get myself as well, to
I don't,
really.
yeah. I wonder, I see life. it's not black or white or one step to two steps. It's more rhythms. I see life as rhythms, you know, and for me the settling down came with Corona actually. And I had this pull, so I often follow my inner pull to I was settling down in Sweden. I bought myself an apartment that I wanted to ground, and it had this feeling I wanted to ground. And I also want to build my business more mainstream. I want to be more in society. And now I can feel that it's starting to move again. I will not start to move around like I did before, because I have that experience. I have to move with another purpose or intention if I do it. So what's right for me will probably not be right for you.
For
But
someone else, absolutely.
yeah, but I mean, that you're asking yourself the question to me shows that there is, you know, there is a rhythm changing, perhaps. There is a curiosity for something else.
It doesn't mean I'm gonna become like a typical old guy sitting in one place
No,
now.
you
I'm always
cannot.
going to travel, but having a base, I want to have
Yeah,
three bases: one in Asia, one in Europe, one in South
yeah,
America. That's my
yeah,
goal.
exactly. Yeah,
You know.
that's been my goal.
All right, we'll get
Yeah,
it. You'll get there.
yeah,
You're on the way.
yeah,
You're on the way. I'm on the way.
yeah. Yeah, I
Awesome.
beat that.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful. Now, you mentioned you love traveling, right? I know we can do an entire library of episode just about your travels, but we may do that another time. But I want to take you down a different type of traveling, down memory line. Go back to when you were growing up as a young girl. You know, when we're kids, people around us, family, relatives, teachers, friends, neighbors always ask us, "Hey, Susanna, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your
Yeah.
answer to that as a little girl?
Well, I think I always was a little bit I don't know if I want to say different, because I don't want to make myself special, but I had other views on life. So, for example, when in my childhood, I was always inspired of He-Man and heroes, and not even heroines so much, but heroes and sorrow. And maybe that's why I became who I was, because I was influenced by all these fiction heroes. And I don't remember having a dream of wanting to be a pilot or a hairdresser or anything like that. I started to study fashion design when I was about 16. But even earlier than that, I just had this, there was a
And nose for
zest for
adventure?
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you want to get there.
I don't say it. Adventure.
We get there. I think that I didn't have that typical, like, yeah, I want to be this when I grow up. I just had this pull, this calling for something else, for life, for understanding the meaning of life. I don't know if I had that at 7 years old, but I can't remember having like a specific thought about what I wanted to be.
Oh,
But I
wow.
remember my father saying at some points in my life, he's like, soon she's gonna grow up and she's gonna get a proper job. But that never happened out of that, his thought patterns, you know?
Yeah. Two questions comes to mind right now. Come to mind. One, you mentioned action heroes. What was your favorite action hero growing up?
Sorrow and Ivanhoe. So
Okay.
sorrow was really, I remember sometimes we were skiing a lot when I was a child. So we rented these cabinets in different places. And I remember one time I rented one and I just went and I took a knife and I did this big Z all over the wall.
I'm surprised.
Stole dogs and ran away with kids. And I was just wild. But I think
Wow.
so that's Sorrow was my favorite. And then followed by Ivanhoe and
You must have,
Superman.
you must have been a Viking leader in a past life.
I think so.
Absolutely. Ooh. Thor, someone like that. You know what I mean? Wow.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's stay when you were growing up.
Yeah.
What was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
Um, Kind of a love-hate relationship. I was very extreme. So first I went to daycare home when I was whatever 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 or something, which I hated. I hated it to the point that I broke in to my daycare home when I was 5.
What did you hate about it?
I think if I looking from a child perspective, I think I hated that I always had to come there first and be picked up late. So it was more like the parents not feeling cared for from my parents. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think that's what I hated about it. I felt alone and left out somehow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite subject in school?
What was my favorite subject in school? There was also variety. I love music and art and sport.
What sport
And
do
I
you like?
was all of it. I mean, I played football, handball, basketball. I was a ping pong champion when I was
Wow.
11. I did, how do you call, I was really fast running and all kinds of sports. I loved it. I was good at it. And then I was good in school. I was smart, but I was floppy. So I quite early started to, find other ways of entertaining myself.
Like what?
Here we
Share
go.
one with us. What? PG-13, please,
Yeah,
okay?
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So
PG-13, please, okay?
yeah. Yeah, but I think I had this, I don't know how I ended up in that, but quite early I started to go to underground techno parties, like in the
Ah,
90s. I was only 12 when I started to go to clubbing and
12. They allow you in
yeah.
Sweden to go that young to clubs?
No, but I had a very strong free will. So
Okay.
I was I mean, looking back, that's insane. If I look at my sister's son now, he's 12. He would never, and I would crack up if he would even, I mean, he would never even get in. I don't know even how I got in. But I started to go out when I was 12, and I started to drink quite early, and I started to take drugs early, and that is I mean, people can see it as tragedy, and you can also see it as life experience. I don't know if I reflect back on that, if I look at, what would I want my daughter to do that I don't have? But if I look at, putting myself in a motherly shoe, for example, it's like, would I like that? Probably not. But I think at the same time, it also helped me to, of course, it helped me to be who I am today. Without it, I would not be such a free thinker. Maybe I
Yeah,
stayed free thinking because I went my own path on an early age. I didn't get programmed in the same way as normal kids does. So I
absolutely.
spent my nights in trance and being, dancing and having a really good time. And of course, it comes with pain and suffering as well. But there was this like we have this saying in Sweden of a dandelion child. You find your way through the concrete, and that's kind of my life. It's a lot of a life of overcoming.
Yeah, that's honestly, life is meant to be lived, not be
Yeah,
sheltered.
yeah,
One of my saying is life is a buffet, not only to
mm.
try all kind of different delicious dishes, but also kind of experiences.
Yeah,
Experience as many things as you can, as long as it's safe and as long as you're not
yeah,
committing any crime, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Imagine that you had a daughter today. She's 12, and you say, Mommy, I want to go party with my friends. I want to go to a party.
No
What would
fucking
you
way.
say?
That's a good one. I mean, I am a person who like to see, and it's easy to sit and say now when I don't have a daughter. And if I have a daughter, then there's a whole lot of chemistry going on. So it's easy to sit here and be wise. But what would I do? How to introduce, I think about that, how to introduce children into certain environments and what is healthy. Is it healthy to like talk about things? I mean, I also think about that when it comes to sexuality, drugs, alcohol. Is it better to have a glass of wine, or do I then introduce them to something that I will regret? I would probably not let my 12-year-old out partying.
You know what idea came to mind when you answered that question? The
No.
thought of mine. If your daughter, imagine you're a daughter, your daughter came to you say, Mommy, I want to go party. The thought that came to mind say, okay, I'll be your DJ.
Yeah. Could be actually. Could be actually. I'm gonna pick up DJing again. I told you, right, that I've been a techno DJ.
Oh, I know, I remember that. That's
Yeah.
right. You know?
Monday I start a new course because when I used to DJ, I was analog. I played vinyls, and I don't know. I feel like a grandma with all these digital buttons and all crap. So now I'm gonna take a course on Monday, 5 days.
How long is the course? 5 days?
It's 5 days,
All
like a
right.
fundamental, just in how the modern technology works. Because I
All
don't
right.
know.
You know what's happening in October, right?
No.
Two special dates.
Two special dates.
My
My birthday
birthday.
and your birthday.
Yes. So we're gonna throw a party. You're gonna be the DJ. You're
Oh
gonna paint
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
town
yeah.
red, you know?
Exactly.
Now, cool. Let's go back to when you were well, younger, going to school.
Mm.
Imagine that we're in the same class in grade 10, grade 11. What kind of student and girl were you? Either I kind of know the answer, but I want to know it from you. Were
No,
you the
actually,
shy
I would
type?
like to hear.
Were you the shy type, the nerdy type, which I don't believe? Were you the chatterbox, the superstar,
Yeah,
the queen of the class? What kind of
yeah.
girl were you if we were in the same class in, say, grade 10, 11?
I would like you to answer that first, because what do you
I would
think? Because
say
it's
that
fun.
you would be the sweet, innocent girl with the glasses, sitting in class, nerdy, always the first in the front of the class, always raising her hand in an annoying way. No, joke. You'll be the life of the
Yeah.
party. Come on.
Yeah. No, I was kind of, this is the thing with me. I really have extremes, and I was quite insecure like as a child, and I was even bullied. I was bullied for being ugly in school. Like the boys, they didn't want me, and I felt like an
What?
outsider. Yeah, I grow up, I think it is, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. So I was always like, I always had
Oh,
this feeling of being an outsider somehow. And being in that age, I might have had, today I get a lot of compliments for my looks, but in that age I looked different. I didn't have this stereotype, whatever that is, kind of look. So I was even bullied. I was bullied in school. I was bullied for being ugly, and yet I also had this kind of, I was also a powerhouse. So one extreme I was, the outsider, and at the other extreme I was, don't fuck with me, and don't. I was kind of protecting the people who got bullied, so I could always stand up for people. And then sometimes I was just a mess, an extreme in class. I was bullying my teachers, and then in others I was just behaving really well and was super sweet. So
okay.
depending on my mood and what I appreciated with the class, and but I was not the cool girl. Maybe to some degree I was, but I didn't see myself as the star, in that sense.
Fascinating. How
Mm.
did you end up becoming a what is it, Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah. So
Seriously, that's the last thing I would have guessed.
it's a great story.
Is it
Uh,
something your parent put you as a way to try to control you, to try to keep you not
no,
doing anything crazy?
I I think I was born into it. My parents, I think Jehovah started to spread in Sweden in the 1940s or something, and my parents kind of applied
Okay.
that teaching, and it became like a hype, and then my parents passed it on to me. But I very early on felt a huge resistance. Like I hated it. They had to bribe me. Sometimes they hit me because I was not still. Like I was really like I just resisted it. And
Perhaps
yeah,
if you have done the teaching with techno, maybe you'd have been yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, by them. But that's
Wow.
I think when I look back on it, that it actually formed me to never be a follower after that, because I still resist when a group of people start to create the same belief to when it gets too intense, like this is how it is, this is the truth, or I just go. I cannot stand a leader trying to shape their followers into I'm leading with the truth. Like I would never do that to my students. I would always encourage authenticity and individualism.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so I
Wow.
think I thank that. I'm grateful, but yet it also created this that I always was an outsider, because when you're so young and you can't celebrate Christmas or birthdays, or you cannot be a part of the norm, it's a child that has a quite brutal impact.
You miss it. Yeah, that's basically
Mm.
you deprived of some of the
Mm.
happiest moments that a child or any
Yeah,
person can go
yeah,
through. Yeah,
yeah.
wow. So you talked a little bit about it, but I want you to tell us more. So when you were in school, college, university, were you popular with the boys?
No, 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 no. No, I was not popular with boys. So
Okay.
when I was, no, I was not. I mean, of course, I had relatings, and I think I had my first boyfriend. I was 12 when I had my first boyfriend, but we didn't last so long. So I was not the popular girl. No,
Mm, okay.
no.
Okay. Do you remember what was your very first job? And do you remember how much you got paid the first time you worked in your life?
Job. Yeah, I do actually. I was working in a cafeteria when I was 15,
Okay.
and I made, I don't know if I made €5 or €6 or €7 an hour.
Okay.
Black.
Okay.
Yes, I
Nice.
started to work quite early until I found my own path.
Great segue. Now let's move forward.
Yeah.
From the moment you left school to now, how would you describe your path? Would you say it was once you get into one lane, you were set for life, and smooth sailing was like a roller coaster, like a ding.
It's a total roller coaster.
Ah,
Total. I mean, I shared. So when I don't know if I was 16 or 17, because I was in this underground movement in Sweden. Yeah, I was out
mm,
partying and I met a lot of interesting people, and these people actually lived a little bit different lives.
sure.
And of course, that influenced me and it kind of fit into my this longing for something else. Like I always felt that society, what we see and what we are taught to believe here is not enough. It's not it. Like I just knew it with my whole heart and soul. So when I was 17, I wanted to go to Thailand, to Koh Phangan,
Oh,
and I left and I made a promise to my mother that I will come back after a month. So there was a carrot. She was like, okay, you go to Thailand, you come back, and then you finish school. And I was like, yeah. And then
sorry.
I
After how
left.
long? After 1 month?
Yeah, after
From
yeah, she said, go to Thailand, come back after 1 month.
okay. Good luck.
6 months later, by that time I was on Koh Phangan. There was no computers. You could write letters, or you could,
Oh,
you
okay.
could phone with coins. Yeah, so we hardly had any connections, and I think my mother somehow enjoyed me being away as well. And of course she worried a lot. Yeah, but she also, I was just doing my own thing. And after 6 months, I came back, and I just said I will never go back to school, and that's where I started to forge my own path, really. I started my first small company, traveling the world.
What was your first business?
I was producing piercing jewelries,
Oh,
big piercing jewelry, so like broad ones out of mammoth tusk. I'm not producing it, I was designing, and then they were made and produced in Bali. So I was in Bali, and then also clothes. I was designing clothes, and then I traveled around the world and I looked at the yellow pages to find suiting shops and customers, and I went knocking doors and sat in
oh,
festivals. And so I'm an entrepreneur at heart.
oh, yeah, absolutely. The
I
old school
never really had
knocking
a
on doors,
real
cold calling,
yeah.
smile and dial. You know,
Exactly.
wow, kudos, well done.
Yeah.
And then, how did your journey progress? How did you find your path that doing something that allowed you to not only keep your freedom and your creativity, but also in a
Mm.
way to make money, not just for the sake of making money, but also in a way that was really fulfilling you?
Yeah, I mean, that was fulfilling me because I didn't, it's like, it's actually interesting to talk about it in different ways because you know you for the one you are, and I know myself for the one I am, and I see my reality in my ways. I don't see it as special or different, but when I start to reflect of it, the older I get, I'm like, wow, that's really courageous for such a young woman to just like, I'm just gonna travel the world and do this. And it was really an impulse of just knowing what to do next. And I didn't even think about, should I do this because it makes me happy or not? I just did. And I love to explore life, and I was curious about life. So there was no other option more than forward, kind of. It's just like, I want to go there, I want to go there. And now this is pulling me and this is calling me. And I just followed that calling. And I started to pay attention to, I got really good in communicating with people and adapting to cultures and learning languages by just listening. Yeah, so I'm smart in that sense. And so by then it was not by intent. Like today I'm living much more by intent, but by then it was very much in the moment, and what fulfilled me, what called me, yeah, what called my soul. And for some reason, somehow I managed to create that for myself in a very early age, which is quite fascinating actually when I think about it. Like if I look back at my young self, because at the same time I was super insecure. Like as a young woman, I was
Mhm.
very insecure, and I remember starting to travel that time to Thailand. My English was, I could hardly have a conversation because I hadn't studied English that well. Like all my
Really?
English is self-taught by listening and talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so by then it was more the calling, yeah, the calling for the fire in my heart that brought me around the world to different places.
Speaking of that fire and that calling, when did you realize that, hey, this is it? I found my calling. What,
It was
sorry,
also,
sorry, was it a specific moment or was it something progressive over time?
no, I think when progressive over time, because I
Mhm.
didn't have this I mean, a short, trip down the memory line. Like even when I was a child, I remember asking, like I remember falling asleep, and I felt like I was just held by something greater, and I just
Oh,
knew
wow.
that something bigger is at play. And in my teenage years, I was clairvoyant, so I could, I had connection with the spirit world, and I saw things that other people didn't see. Yeah, and for me, that was normal. Yeah, it was just, I didn't make it that special or weird or strange. It was just my living experience. And I started to study, and I felt this pull of interest. Even when I was 15, I studied I was just reading books about Hinduism and the Eastern gods and traditions, and it was an interest. I started to meditate when I was 19, started to study Ayurveda and yoga. So this is 99. So something in me just been following this path, and then rather sidestepping to other things just to come back to that.
Mhm.
And of course it's been okay, there is a specific defining moment actually, because I had this, I was, like I shared with you, I used a lot of drugs when I was in my teenage years, and that went from extreme to less extreme to extreme to less extreme. And there is a lot of between my when I was like 19 to 24, I was involved even with people I maybe shouldn't have been involved with, and I explored experience. I had experiences with drugs and in different countries that is, impacted me a lot, and provided, great teachings and learnings. And in when I was also DJing at that time a little bit, but at the same time I was in this spiritual path. So I alternated between the drugs and the underground techno scene, and traveling the world and doing the spirituality. So both extremes. When I was 25, so this is 2005, I had this, and I knew my path all along, but I just like didn't take it for I didn't own it, like you said, what you asked for. So I had enough. I was by that time I was kind of worn down. I'd taken a lot of drugs. I was tired. My mind couldn't handle it really, and I was together with an Argentinian man who we had like the most passionate tantric lovemaking that I ever experienced, but he was a psychopath. He was something unhealthy with him, and I was really insecure, and I couldn't take care of myself by then. So I made him, I put him on a pedestal, and he was so good and all of that. And we got pregnant quite fast, and I wanted to keep this child because I put him on a pedestal. But somehow my intuition was like, okay, I even suspected he had killed his own parents. That's the level of
What?
yeah.
Holy.
I mean, super, super strange, and he was really mean, like psychologically abusive to me. So I was worn down and confused, and I just knew I had to change. And so when he was away, I rented out my flat. I was living in South Sweden by then, and I moved to Stockholm on the countryside to study herbalism for a year. And I was still pregnant, but then I decided to do an abortion like after it was like 11 and a half weeks, so just like very last minute. And that was a great sadness and grief for me. But I remember sitting in this school, like somehow my intuition had guided me here. And one of the first weeks we were sitting in a circle, the whole class, and there is this beautiful healer who is actually my mentor until today, who he was, he's a healer, and he can really read you. He can read energies, and he just turned to me and he said, "I'm gonna make you shine like the sun you truly are."
Wow.
And in that moment, like all this, it was like life just flashed by, and I could see, I had sexual abuse as a child, and all this abuse that I've been through, like self-abuse, food abuse, drug addictions, physical abuse, psychological abuse, abuse with men, like all this just like played out. And I made a commitment in that moment to take my path and my life very serious, like to not treat myself like that ever again and not let others treat myself. And that's where I really committed to the path where I am today.
Wow, well done, well done. That's not an
Thank you.
easy path. Very welcome. Speaking of
Mm.
that, you know, that's a perfect segue. You know, there's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves in here. So how you,
Oh,
Susanna,
totally.
how did you change your story internally to change your reality externally? When you were at your lowest point in your life or the
Yeah.
most painful, how did you change what you were telling yourself here to change your reality?
Yeah. It's a quite interesting story, actually. I mean, if I look at when I work with people now, because when I started to, like, previous to that experience, that owning up to the change of my life, I was like super curious, even though I was insecure and I had all these shitty experiences, I was still like up, I brushed myself off. I was like up, 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 up. I kept on living. Yeah, it didn't really knock me out, but still I had these like shitty experiences. And so when I had this shift and I decided to really make the shift, and I started to go into personal development and own up to all these so-called pain and negative experiences, for quite some time, I was actually caught up in my own belief system and became that. And I started to create the idea, so I was a victim, and all this stuff happened to me, and I actually shrank to some degree. I was still having this fiery spirit, but there was quite some years. And then I remember just realizing, because I also had this belief system that I was still an outsider. I was not welcome into groups. I kept, myself for myself, which to some degree is positive because it made me travel the world and sit with masters and teachers and, da 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 da. But still, I never became one of the flock, of the tribe, because I always thought that people didn't like me, which was just a total projection, like my inner projection out onto the world. And I remember one time when I had this epiphany, this awakening, when I realized that, fuck, I am doing this to myself. So it took me maybe 6 years of self-created suffering until I just like, wow. And it was such a painful moment to understand, and, powerful, of course, to understand like, wow, this is just a projection. Like, I am creating this. I am creating the victim. I am creating the whatever suffering I create in this world, from where I was living. I think your sound is gone.
Wow, powerful, powerful, powerful. This been an absolute amazing, amazing conversation so far. Now, you mentioned finding your path and how you were able to overcome yourself.
Mm,
Me, for example, looking at my life, of course, a decision that I should have done better,
mm.
but I do not regret anything I went through because they made me become the person that I am.
Yeah,
Now,
of
you,
course.
Susanna, looking at your life, looking at the painful, most, I mean, tragic phase of your life, do you feel the same that you would not change anything because they made you,
100%.
because life is a school, you come here to learn, grow, and then
Yeah.
learn the lesson that you came here to learn for, and then those become your gift. So me personally, I wouldn't change anything. The only thing I would change is go back to 2010 and buy as many Bitcoins as I could. That I would change, yes.
That's yes. You know what? There is the Bitcoin exchange, like the Swedish
Yeah,
exchange, BTCX, whatever
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called. The founder of that, he asked me to be the CEO in 2011. I would get paid in Bitcoins, and I said no. And I still have the conversation, and I'm like, fuck, I regret that.
But you know what?
I went to
Maybe
the
you would have
jungle instead.
maybe you would have been richer financially, but maybe that would have been prevented you, distracted you from getting on your path to
Yeah,
become the person you're meant to be. And that's much,
yeah,
much more valuable
yeah, of course.
than any amount of Bitcoins.
Yeah,
That's how I
yeah,
like to look at it.
yeah, of course. And
Ah,
but I totally, when I go back to, because again, it's in rhythms, yeah. And then of course I still go through hardship, and I can see, for example, if I just go into the current moment, like my path and my mission is so important. And if the past 3 years a bit have been challenging for various reasons, and I've been close to give up, which I will never be, but it feels like at moments. But then I see that no, I will regret so much if I don't follow through. Yeah. But anyway, so that's current. But when I look back, that's nothing. I don't regret anything. Like if people listen to my stories, like sexual abuse, Jehovah's Witness, drug addict, smuggling drugs, criminal, involved with criminal people, abuse, self-abuse, blah blah blah. I mean, all that is a superpower today. I wouldn't be so rich in experience and being so fucking non-judgmental around other beings, because bring it on. We are who we are, and it's all about how we choose to use it, what we do with our experiences. And that's like a cliche, of course, but it's also, you can say it and you can live it. Yeah. So of course there is nothing I regret.
Looking at you and listening to you, I feel like I want to give the microphone to you. You become the host because you're speaking my language. What you're saying exactly is how I feel as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Because for me as well, I want to be rich as possible in experiences and life.
Yeah.
This is why I built my life that way. I want to experience as many things as possible, because at the soul level, that's what we are here for. We want to experience everything. We want to experience, for example, me, I've experienced betrayal. I've experienced being almost homeless, broken, depressed, suicidal. Quite a lot of times I would at days wake up without not wanting to get out of bed, sleeping myself to cry at night. And even at one point considering, hey, is this life? I don't want to keep playing this game. I was thinking of checking out. But thankfully I didn't do it, because again, I still had a lot to learn. So you, for example, looking at what you just told me, shared in this few minutes, you lived a life in one lifetime what most people would live in, say, 20 lifetimes.
Yeah.
Because look at all the things you've gone through. There's a powerful quote by Alexander the Great that says, it's not the numbers and years that matter, but the years and the life that you live.
Yeah,
in 31 years, he lived more than any other man in the world in history.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the, well, I don't know, because I left it. Before I was so passionate about, like, wake up people, you have to live, and there's so much to explore, and but then I also realized that people will do whatever they need to do whenever they need to do it. It's not my job to wake anybody up. I can just be me, and those who want to join, they can join, or be inspired, they can be inspired. But it's a little bit, sometimes I can feel a bit sad, because we're imagine in school or when we are young, if we were taught to just handling our emotions or express our needs or learn about healthy sexuality or mindset, or we're just being encouraged to live true to your unique individuality and not be in one form fits everybody, and you should just read about history, and then this year everybody gonna become a dentist and then a mechanic. I mean, it's so bizarre and out of human nature when it's so rich. No wonder people are feeling depressed, lonely, lost, isolated. I mean, it's insane how we live,
Because again,
it's insane.
People want to go, they're being untrue to their true self.
Yeah, but they don't know.
They're being suppressed. They're being told, you do that, do that. They're just told just to say yes, to follow orders, and just to keep quiet and do what you're told. Don't question anything, and that's me. I realized that from a very young age, and I can see also you too as well, that there was more to life than what just being told. That's why my life also has been completely different. People thought I was crazy. I was supposed to go to law school. I have a fabulous career as an international lawyer back in 2007, 8. But then a book changed my life. My parents thought I had lost my marbles. Everybody thought I was crazy. And then I started living around the world, traveling, running businesses. So, and each time I talked to them, they had just one question: when are you coming back? When are you settling down?
Yeah, exactly.
Next time you ask me this, I'm not even call you anymore.
It's like my mother. She's like, if you just get a husband and a child, everything is going to be fine. I'm like, yeah, sure.
For you're going to get your grand kid, but it's my life,
Exactly.
Oh,
It's fascinating. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because again, you come here to live life. One thing I learned is the only competition is not your neighbors, not your sisters, not your best friend, whatever. Your competition is the Susanna of yesterday.
Mm,
That's your only competition. And
mm,
from what I learned is my goal is to be just 1% better
mm,
today than I was yesterday. Whatever that
mm.
means. Whether that means picking up a call, calling someone, do whatever I need to do just 1% better or more than yesterday. My competition is not the person who's more successful than me or whatever. No, because if you think about life that way, you become depressed because there's always
Yeah,
someone
totally.
bigger, richer, more
Yeah, yeah,
handsome,
of
more sexier
course.
than you. You can, even if
No.
you're Elon Musk, is someone bigger
Yeah,
than him.
yeah,
What do you do then? Kill
exactly.
yourself? No,
Yeah.
your competition is you.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And looking at that, I mean, and then I can fall. I found myself recently going into the comparison trap, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I'm aware enough to see that I do it and what it does with me. And then, to have those experiences to understand, like, okay, I'm the master of my life. How can I change? Like you say, like I can become my new self every day. Even if I think something today, I can change it tomorrow. And that's fucking amazing because I'm the master of my game, and then life becomes a sport. How can I recreate? And then, of course, there will be, limitations and belief system, but it's the whole point is how can we dance with that? How can I just observe this, that entanglement of thought patterns, how we fall prey to that? What is freedom? What do I want? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Life is whether you prefer to read or watch movies, either a book or a movie, and you're the director and you're the author. You have a
Yeah.
blank slate. You select the adventure you want, the characters you want, the experiences you want.
Yeah.
You create because we are manifestors. One thing that changed my life is understanding to control my thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, because the thoughts you entertain will be the words you speak, and what you speak, it's what you're going to manifest.
Mm, mm.
That's one of the first thing I did to change my life. Literally,
Yeah.
it all
Yeah.
comes
No,
here. Look
totally.
everything
Yeah.
around you. The computer we're
Yeah.
talking on, the seat.
Yeah.
Sorry, the seat you're
Yeah.
sitting on. I can't even speak. The plane you fly on, the car you're driving. All of that started in someone's here.
Yeah.
Now the
Exactly.
question is, what's in your head?
Yeah.
What's in between your two ears?
It's a
I
big,
want
big
to know
party.
what's
Ah.
in here in your head, Susanna. Tell me.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, and when I hear you speak now, that what arises is one, yes, I mean, all these cliches, like you create your own reality, this the journey that matters, not the destination, da da da. We can say it and we can live it, and then there is all these mechanisms in
Mhm.
between, like the steps on how to actually do it, because I see this spiritual bypassing all the time of people repeating quotes and whatever, but you have to do the work and be interested, like being a detective of your own behaviors. So and that's kind of a lot what's going on in my head. Like on a daily basis, I just observe myself and I expose myself and I have fun about being myself and I challenge myself to microshift my behavior. Yeah, because it's all about the little steps. It's all about all the time. What I do in one place creates a resilience in another place. Yeah, if I can, train myself here, I will become stronger in training myself there, like discipline, for example. Or if I want to, whatever it is, it's all the time. And now some people, when I say that, they feel like, oh, but you sound like you're obsessed with yourself. I'm like, no, it's not about like something's wrong with me, I need to change it. It's like I have fun exploring how the human motivation works and how I can shift that so I can support others in doing that. And
I
that's
love that.
what's mostly going on in my head.
It must be the most complex computer in the world, in the brain in the world. If you put the scan is gonna blow up.
Yeah, but it's so fun. I mean, when
I
we
know.
just have fun, it's not about just having fun, of course, but when we relax a little bit into the human experience.
It's about not taking yourself too seriously because unlike the song "Girls Want to Have Fun," no, boys want to have fun too. Everybody wants to have
Yeah,
fun.
good, good.
Make any experience fun. Whether you're 5 years old or 5,000-year-old, make an experience
Yeah,
fun. It doesn't have to be
yeah,
boring.
yeah.
And
No,
once you make,
definitely.
normally it's a lot more fun. But guess what? You learn a lot faster. You're more
Yeah,
motivated
yeah,
as opposed to just dozing off or checking out
yeah,
and your mind being elsewhere, looking at the watch every 10 seconds. When is this going to end? Life is fun. Make it fun.
Yeah, but this is also where it's sad sometimes, or not sad, but looking at, I mean, I used to be trapped in my own belittling mindset, you know, in my own, you know, this is wrong with me, or I'm not good enough. Oh my God, I run not good enough for such a long time. Like I really worked hard to be who I am today, like seriously, you know, people don't think it when they see me because they're like, oh, you were just born like naturally relaxed and happy. And I was like, no, fuck no, like I want to kill myself. I've been miserable, yeah, self-hatred. But on the other end, like, why would I go back into misery when I can have fun? So when I see people, you know, so detangled in themselves and not good enough, and knowing that this is just thought pattern, it's just thought pattern, choice, belief system. It's like, how can I just inspire them to come here? Yeah, how can we inspire people? Because it's easy to sit and talk about just let go of yourself. It is just to let go of yourself, but it's not just to let go of yourself at the same time.
More complex than that. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fascinating. Like it's deeply, deeply, deeply fascinating. I'm obsessed with our human potential.
Absolutely. Do you still get sometimes moments of self-doubt saying, "What the hell do you
Fuck
think
yes.
you are?
Of
I'm not
course.
good enough."
Oh, fuck yeah. No, maybe, yeah. But nowadays, what I've learned is one, it's painful when I say that. And the biggest one, like I still have one limiting belief or painful belief, maybe I should call it nowadays. And that is, who do you think you are? But
Mm.
what I've learned, that's like my biggest. But what I've learned with, let me see what you said, another limiting belief. The thing is, what I've learned today is that when I take new steps into bigger expansion, if I don't have those thoughts, it's not big enough. So I've trained myself to not fall prey, because in the past I have fall prey for the limiting beliefs, which made me not do certain things because I believed that I was not good enough, or
Mm.
you know, who do you think you fuck do you think you are? Today is like, I know that it's more painful to believe in that and sit back than to actually jump. Yeah. So it's a measurement, like it's a springboard today. But of course it arises, but it's my friends more. That's like, yeah, okay, I'm on the right track. It sucks, it hurts, it's painful, it feels real. Yeah. I'm not free from that, but I'm free to choose whether I want to believe it or not. That's the difference.
Yes, and what to make of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, exactly. And of course
Mhm.
I doubt myself, and of course I have shitty days, and you
All
know,
do. Yeah.
but yeah, you know, we're not stopping to be human, but the whole part is to understand that it's just rhythms, you know, the weather changes
Yeah, I
when it
like that.
changes.
Hmm. Just
Yeah.
like the weather. So how's the weather for you and your head right meow right now?
Meow. Right, meow. Yeah, that would be my sentence. Right, meow.
Yeah, I keep on saying that all the time. But anyways, oops, I did it again.
You're in
Right now.
Vietnam, right? Maybe you're influenced.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the weather like in your mind right now?
I feel, yeah, like I shared with you, I've been a little kind of sick for some weeks. I've been a little down. Now I feel relaxed. I feel happy. I'm happy to be here. It's always inspiring. I feel motivated, and at the same time, I feel strategic. So I'm working slowly towards something. Yeah,
Oh,
and that's in my mind.
all right. Keep that in your mind. We're gonna explore that, expand that in detail for next episode. We don't wanna
Okay.
spill the beans. Keep them
Okay.
right
Yeah.
here. Keep them warm and safe for next time.
Yeah.
Exactly. And do speedy time. You know what I mean?
We can dive into some juicy stories next time.
Absolutely.
Juicy air.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so, Susanna?
Yeah. I mean, either I'm on Instagram or on Facebook, so Susanna Beatrice Global, or email susanna@susannabeatrice.global, or my website www.susannabeatrice.global.
I like that. Okay, we'll put that in the show note. Listen,
Mm.
fascinating conversation. I enjoy listening to you and your stories, and we haven't even scratched the surface of the
No,
surface.
we have not.
And we certainly will. We certainly will. I salute you.
Yes.
You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world. Your presence, your impact, your smile, your everything you have, your passion. and your gift yourself. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you, my friend, and talk to you next time. Take care.
Yes,
Cheers.
thank you so much.
Very welcome. Bye bye.